Every small town has a story, and we're here to shine a light on the people, places, and moments that make ours unforgettable. Welcome to the Small Town Bold Stories podcast. On today's episode of the podcast, I sat down with Becky and Charlie Hacker with Pike Lawn and Garden here in Brandenburg. And they shared the story about how over 40 years ago, Becky's dad was driving to Fort Knox, and he listened to people about how they didn't like to work on their lawnmowers anymore, and that's how the business started. In a small shed in Andyville, and it has grown tremendously over those last 40 plus years. They've got some exciting events coming up. I hope you enjoy this episode. Well, welcome to the podcast, Charlie and Becky. Thanks so much for coming on. Why don't you introduce yourselves, tell us a little bit about your business, and then we'll kind of get into what y'all do.
So I'm Becky Hacker, and my dad started Pike Lawn and Garden in 1984, a long time ago. And my husband, Charlie, now runs the store. It's located in Brandenburg.
Charlie, did you anticipate doing this, or were you, how did that come to be?
No, I wasn't my original plan. When I first got out of high school, I did computer-aided design drafting. Okay, and I got tired of that. I went back to college and ended up with a manufacturing management degree. When I got out of that, that was when the manufacturing, the economy, everything kind of crashed, and there was not really any jobs to be had. So it ended up just kind of going into doing this, just as things kind of tied over, have something to do, and then it just kind of turned into, now I'm running it full time.
Yeah, we moved back here in 2007. We had just had our first child, and there was a job opening, and we came up here, and Charlie started helping out at the shop, and I teach at the middle school, and Charlie was watching our oldest part of the time Mom was, and Charlie kind of just started helping out at the store more and more. Then we are located in Andyville, just past Stoll's Grocery, and Pike Lawn and Garden was ran out of a 2-car garage, basically. So we've come a long way since then.
Sure. Because you said your dad basically started it. He was riding to Fort Knox with people, and they didn't like working on their mowers.
Yeah. So it's kind of weird thinking about this, but back then he carpooled with people.
So many people did. I know my mom did the same thing when she worked at Fort Knox.
Yeah. So they carpooled. I don't know exactly how many of them, but back then that was very commonplace. They drove Fort Knox. They were civilians in there, and Dad had a variety of jobs as a civilian, but they talked back and forth, and a lot of people he noticed were complaining about having to fix their mowers and stuff, and Dad was thinking, I think I see an opportunity here. Yeah, so he started the business out of a little bitty shed, probably not bigger than where we are sitting here right now, and
like 8 by 10 at most.
Yeah. I don't even think it was that big. And so Dad bought a mower for $250 from somebody that was just tired of fooling with it, messing with it. And then he fixed it up and sold it. And so I talked to Dad a little bit about this before our interview. Dad doesn't really know what a podcast is. So we're here doing it. But anyway, he said, yeah, I sold it. And it just went from there. And
it's crazy how little things like that just take off on kind of snowballs.
Yeah. Yeah, he said fixing mowers was a lot better than growing tobacco. So here we are.
So how long after that did he keep working at Fort Knox?
Dad retired about the year 2000 at Fort Knox.
So for 15 or 16 years, he was kind of...
Yeah, he had a second shift doing mowers. So we helped out a lot. Our business, whenever it was in Andyville, it was in the 2-car garage, and it was after Dad got home from work, we would start doing mowers. And me and my brothers, we would help, and we just kind of did whatever needed to be done. We didn't have any official hours. We would be open whenever Dad was there, and, almost every night, I felt like whenever we would be eating supper, somebody would come knock on the door. We'd hear somebody in the driveway. We'd go out and help them. And it was kind of all about filling a need. Dad saw we don't really have a mower business in Meade County. And it was a lot about service. If we were there, we were open until dark, and we would fix up mowers. We'd help people out. And it is kind of cool now, since we've been in business for so long, to see we've helped people with their mowers for generations.
So I'm sure it could.
Yeah, they come here. They're like, yeah, my grandpa bought a mower here. We know you take care of us. And that is something that we try to do day in and day out.
Yeah, because there's not really anybody else in this area that does that.
No.
And offer the parts and the service and the sales too.
Right.
So
yeah, we know you can go to the big box store and get a mower, but we're going to know the ins and outs of it. We're going to have parts for it. We'll be here whenever you need us.
yeah. So how did it start to grow? Like, was kind of after a full-time job in the evenings? When did it kind of start to transition to what it is now?
Well, whenever I came into it, there was 3 of us operating out of a 24 by 24 2-car garage, and that's where we did the parts sales, where we did the mower sales, that's where we did the service, all right in that one building. And then, kind of reached that point that it's like, well, we've far outgrown this little building, and didn't make sense to build in Andyville. And, I'm not...
At least the shirt says, where the hell is Andyville?
Right.
Let's still don't know where it's at.
Right. So we had the opportunity to buy the ground here in Brandenburg. Ronnie Greenville?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. He owned that ground. We bought the ground off from them. And then we, broke ground, built the building there. I think it was one of the first buildings that Prodigy Construction built, with Scotty Brown started.
And that was like in 2010-ish, you said, was it?
Yeah.
That happened? Wow.
Yeah.
So it's still a family affair today.
Oh, yeah. We have about 10 people working there. A lot of them are family, but not all of them are blood related, but we kind of treat each other like family.
Well, that's good.
In a good way.
That could be good or bad
No,
sometimes, but hopefully it's more good than not. So,
well, it's not as bad when we were all in the 24 by 24 garage versus having
get a little more space to spread out. Because that building's bigger than it looks, I feel like, because it's got a basement in it.
It has a basement. It's 3,300 square feet upstairs, roughly, and about that big in the basement. That's quite a bit of space. It's not big enough. It never is.
So you can build a garage, but as soon as you move into it, it's not big enough. So same thing with that, I guess. So if people don't know, what all do you all do? Because I know you do so much.
Well, we offer parts sales and service for the products we sell, which are Aaron's, Gravely, Ferris, Steel. We used to sell Snapper Pro, which those brands are kind of went away now, but we still had the parts to provide the service. If you bought a mower from us, regardless if the brand still exists or if we don't deal with the brand anymore, we still take care of you because, that's what we're there to do.
Yeah. It's definitely a service-related business.
It's hard to offer service and support for everything out there because some stuff you can't get parts for. And then that makes it hard.
I'm sure that got even more difficult during the pandemic, didn't it?
Yes. Parts inventory, supply, all that, whole goods was a major challenge in that time. A lot of price jumps, even now stuff's a lot higher than it used to be. But we tried to maintain the, what was considered the minimum advertised price at the time. We didn't jack the prices way up because the inventory was scarce. Because the way I looked at it, down the road, it's not going to be this way, and I don't want to be remembered as taking advantage of somebody because times were tough or hard.
Yeah.
Just try to maintain the status quo and treat you how it would any time.
Yeah. Keep that recurring business space coming back for sure. So what's probably your most popular product that you sell?
But in the Gravely brand, we sell more of it than we do anything, but they have a broader product offering than like Aaron's or Ferris. But the number one seller is the, ZTHD series. It's a heavy homeowner, has a lot of commercial type DNA, heavy 7-gauge stack, 5/8 belts, Kawasaki motor, it's built good. It's a good mower, mow several acres, not wear it out, not have issues.
And y'all kind of brought that brand to Brandenburg, didn't you?
Yeah. We took on the Gravely brand in 2001. Gravely is a family-owned company owned by Dan Aaron's. Yeah, I think they're in their 4th or 5th generation. And he knows us. Like, whenever we go to meetings, he'll, ask, how's Dad doing? And even though Dad is retired, really, he still has an interest in us, and we really like that. They stand behind their product. So we took them on in 2001. Before then, we only sold used mowers, and it was starting to get a little bit harder to coordinate all that. I remember growing up we would go on these mower trips, and we would go to different implement dealers, and we would buy trade-ins, and we'd come with like a gooseneck trailer full of mowers whenever we got home. Yeah, we got a lot of mowers in southern Indiana. And that was kind of getting more difficult to do. Those snapper rear engine riders, that was like our bread and butter for a long time. But then zero turns became more popular because you could mow so much faster. And so as things changed, we changed.
Yeah, like you had to.
Yeah.
I'm sure back then obviously didn't have Facebook Marketplace to find used mowers. So were you just going to dealerships and seeing what they had and buying them? Or like, did you at that time?
Oh, I think David had relationships with a lot of these places from, growing up on farms. And a lot of them were John Deere dealers. They had John Deere equipment on their farm. So, I mean, he knew of them, had relationships with them, and had kind of grown it over the few years that he was doing it.
Yeah, it was a very different time. At one time, Dad had this blue and white Chevy truck, and they'd always know that was him. And then Dad got a Dodge truck, and then he was like, yeah, I would like to buy some mowers. He goes, oh, no, there's somebody that we've got doing that. He's like, it's me.
Sweet.
Yeah, I got a new truck. So, yeah, it was very different, the way that business was done back then.
For sure.
So, but, yeah, we try to listen to people. We listen. For example, today I was selling a mower to a guy, and, we try to find out how much are you mowing, what's your yard like. We try to find the best mower.
Not try to oversell ones that they really don't need to get the right test product.
I mean, it's not a huge advantage to buy a $18,000 mower to mow a half-acre yard because you don't really use it in the way it's intended to be used. And then if you have a problem with it, a lot of times there's no hours on it, but it would be out by years. And then, you're not happy because, well, this mower's $20,000 and it's got a problem. And it's not warranty because it's got 100 hours on it. So mowers are kind of like shoes. The way I look at it is you've got to buy a shoe that fits your foot. If you have one that's too small, hurts your foot. You have one too big, you hurt your foot. Getting the one that fits your yard, works for you, gets you the best bang for the buck is what matters. Just at the same time, buying a $3,500 residential mower and trying to mow 100 yards a week isn't the right application either. So.
And something that I always enjoy doing whenever I sell a mower is we'll go out. We've got 10 acres there. And I'm like, try it out. See how you like it. If you can't decide between this mower and that mower, well, let's get them out and see which one you do like. And, that's something that most stores don't get to offer.
I don't think anybody in Louisville could do that, probably unique.
No, I mean, you can jump on one and drive it around on a parking lot, but that doesn't really tell you how it's going to feel in your yard.
Yeah.
I mean, parking lot's going to ride smooth.
Unique yard is totally different.
Yep.
Yeah, our land has lots of different places, and I'm like, all right, try that over there, and let's see how it feels.
So you ever drive by and you see patches of cut grass, you'll know what it's from.
Exactly.
So do you ever sell a riding lawnmower anymore, or are they all zero turns pretty much?
Well, we used to carry Cub. When Stanley Black & Decker purchased Cub, it went from being a family-owned business to a corporate business. Stuff started changing. It wasn't the same company dealing with, so we ended up parting ways. After that, we no longer have a riding mower.
Just the zero turn.
Just the zero turns. We still have calls for it, but if you get into pricing a good riding mower, they're as much or almost as much as a zero turn. And, unless you just have a situation where you're not comfortable with a zero turn or you just don't have a yard that the zero turn works in, the zero turn gets you done quicker, which is less wear and tear on your mower. It's, a better product because it's designed and built to cut grass. For a riding mower, it's just something where we can take a tractor and scale it down and put a deck under it, and it's
Call it good.
So,
yeah. I know that when I get on an old school riding mower versus a zero turn, it's like, this is going back 100 years, I feel like. So,
yeah, usually you get your yard cut in half the time on a zero turn as a tractor. So,
Yep. What else do y'all do? Maybe on the service side of things, I feel like that's a kind of starting to become a lost art for a lot of places because people don't want to work on stuff. But you've got people that can help on service too, right?
Right. We do have a service department. We stay busy 2/3 of the year because our business is very seasonal as far as, we're only busy when the grass is growing. So we do things like our preseason promotion that we started like December 1. You can go to the end of February. We offer discounts on a couple of service packages, reduced price on pickup and delivery just to get stuff in, get it ready, get it out, keeps work for the employees, gets people's mowers back to them before they need them.
Exactly.
Because, you wait until, the grass is growing and then you want to get it in and get it serviced. No matter how hard we try,
It's too late.
we get behind. I mean, it's just the nature of the beast. It's not like a car that you use every day that you're like, oh, I got to get the oil change. I got to fix me a miles on it. It's just like the mower. It's like, well, I used it and now it's up for the winter. And then, oh, wait, the grass is growing. I got to get it out. It's like, oh, I need to get it serviced or it won't start or it's something along those lines. And then by the time you're calling, it's like, well, we're like 3-4 weeks out.
Yeah, that makes sense. Can you do like small engine type stuff too, or you always do the motor type stuff?
On 2-cycle handheld equipment, we only work on the steel product. We had the training for it. I went to Steel Corporate for gold level training. I got another tech that's going there at the end of the month that's going to get his gold certification. And it's not a stamp and you just get it. There's a test you have to pass. If you don't get over a certain score, you don't get certified and you made the trip and spent the money for nothing. You don't want that. And then, as far as, working on other things, we pretty much focus on mowers. I mean, you can try to do too many things. Like, if it's a side-by-side, which we've sold some that were Cub label, we'll still work on it. If we sold it, we'll take care of it. And then, sometimes we'll have people want us to work on stuff that's not something we typically do. It's not anything we would do in the heat of the spring season.
But if it's dead of winter,
It's winter time, fall. I mean, we don't care to take it in then because it's not as busy. But right now it's a matter of working on the stuff that you're familiar with, that it's, I wouldn't say easy, but you add the parts, get the parts, and then you can just move it through. It's, all about trying to be as efficient as possible because nobody wants it to sit there for 2-3 weeks waiting for a part to come in because we didn't have it or it was a product we didn't have or take care of that had to special order or try to find from another dealer that was a dealer for that brand.
Makes sense. So spring is right around the corner and you got your customer appreciation. Is it a week, I guess?
Yeah, it is April 6th through the 11th.
It's right after Easter.
We start on that Monday, and we have 10% off of the in-stock parts, 20% off the accessories that we have in stock. If you buy a gas steel product, you can get a free gas can with that. And if you buy a new mower, you can get a free bronze service. We have a couple giveaways going on. That Saturday, the 11th, is kind of our big day. We're going to have lunch available to our customers. It is a customer appreciation event. So, we couldn't have a business if it weren't for customers. So we have lunch. We're going to give away an Aaron's push mower. Throughout the week, we're going to have some dealer representatives there, and you can always try out the mowers before you buy them. But on that Saturday, we're going to have like everything out, and you can just try things. We'll have people there to help you learn how to use it, and it should be a good day.
Oh, that should be fun, I would say. That's something you'll do every year, typically?
We have some type of promotion. The customer appreciation is something I came up with last year and just kind of carrying it on through. The year before that, we had our 40th anniversary, so that kind of got started with the food and stuff on Saturday.
You just made me think of this. Did your dad have any idea when he did this in 1984 that 40 plus years later, it would be what it is now?
No, it's crazy. It started as like a little side hustle to have some extra money, and it grew so much, then it was just him taking care of a need that he saw in his community. And us moving to town was a great big thing because, before it was a business at home in our garage, and it's kind of nice to have regular hours now. We're always closed on Sunday. We are a very family-oriented business. I never intended that my husband would work at the store. That was not like part of the master plan, but it worked out really good.
Yeah. I feel like I've learned over the years, like you might have a plan and then it just totally gets thrown out the window, but then it works. So, well, that's awesome. Hopefully that's a good week. That'll be here before we know it. In spring, the grass is already starting to grow. Where can people find you all at if they don't know where you're at, and how can they get in touch with you?
Well, we're located at 1427 Highway 79 here in Brandenburg.
R9 RECC.
Right behind RECC. We got our website, pikelandgarden.com. And spelt out. It's got a lot of inventory on it, pricing, contact forms that you can submit, request quotes, those types of things. Always call us. You can even text us at 270-422-4646.
Okay.
So it's kind of nice that you can text on that line, and then, get my, may not respond when we're closed because try not to let the business consume every waking hour of my life.
Totally understand that.
But we try to be as responsive as possible.
Sure. And I'm sure if you don't have something somebody wants, you could probably get it too, correct?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
And, a lot of people don't have trucks and trailers and stuff anymore. And something that we do offer is free local delivery. So, and, having whenever you buy a mower, we'll deliver it. And it's not like we'll deliver it 2 weeks from now. Usually it's within a day or two. So
and it's probably not free on service, but if you need it picked up, you all can probably do that too. So
right.
It's not like to worry about it.
Yeah, because a lot of people just don't have access to those things anymore. So we can pick it up, we can deliver it, and we try to provide to the customers.
Awesome. Anything else that people should know about Pike Lawn and Garden?
Yeah. We also do boat and RV storage behind the business.
Okay.
It's just something that we utilize the ground that we had in order to try to make money, and then also to offer a service to people because it was something that people were looking for in the area.
That makes sense, and you got plenty of ground there. So, okay. Well, thank you all so much. I hope that the spring is just wonderful, and it's hard to believe it's already March and April's right around the corner. So, all right. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So you've got a cool story to tell, something about our community that makes it strong and unique. You have a business, someone that has a really cool story about the history of our community or anything else. Well, we want to tell that story on the podcast. So do us a favor and visit smalltownboldstories.com so that we can tell that story next and you get to hear it. Thanks for listening to this episode of the Small Town Bold Stories podcast, brought to you by Next Home Chisholm Realty. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an episode, and we'll catch you next time with more bold stories from the heart of our hometowns.